Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Um,
You got more on your laundry list.
no, that's it. That's a game day
Okay.
experience.
Well, then you got that thing on your chest you need to talk about.
The swoosh. All right, where you wanna begin? Actually, you know where I want to begin. I want to go back to a podcast episode. Well, maybe I'll superimpose this in here. Steve, did you know something? Did you?
I heard rumblings,
Okay,
sort of, possibly,
okay,
maybe something would happen.
okay. Because you alluded to some changes in the air. That's all I'll say. And yes, I also heard some of those rumblings as well prior to this. And when I first heard those, quite frankly, I was my flabbers were gasted, as the kids have been saying. Um,
The kids do
that's
they
I don't know,
the
maybe
kids from the 1930s?
yeah, probably. Um, and then things progressed, and here we are, and yeah, Penn State in the clock is ticking on them being a Nike school, which is utterly fascinating, and is one of the biggest changes in Penn State athletics history, quite frankly. Um, and it's a interesting one. There's a lot that I want to dive in on this. Um, I want to go back to Nike though, because I want to go back to the beginnings, and it's fascinating how Penn State and Nike kind of like came together and like kind of became like Penn State and Nike. Penn State is not Nike's highest school, but back in the '90s, it was kind of a big deal that Penn State and Nike were
Mhm.
getting together. Can you fill me in, old guy, on like that era, 93, 94, what you remember,
Well, right.
the
It was all about the
storylines?
swoosh, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was all about putting something on the uniform initially. I mean, publicly, but I think privately it was about support, right? They were going to do a performance center here that didn't happen, and that was only 4 or 5 years ago. They talked about doing that. It was, consistency across sports. It was supplying product. It was a big change, right? Just because Penn State was becoming more corporate, it was becoming not your mom and dad's football program. It was becoming like this bigger time football program, for lack of a better word. And I think it surprised a lot of people, but I think they embraced it. I think people, because I think it was, not I think, because it was validated by Coach Paterno, right? It was like, this is what we need to do. This is what we're doing. Everybody's like, yep, this is what we're doing. We're going to do. And you became the Nike school. It just like became the Pepsi school, right? Like that was those first two, it felt like foundational partners for what they were doing. And now things have changed.
Now things have changed. I
And
I
maybe that relationship soured
uh,
from some of this stuff.
that was about what I was gonna say. Just based on some people I've talked to, it does sound like things have soured, and then it kind of got backed up by our dear friend of the podcast, John Saubers, reporting this week. Thought he
Mhm.
did a great job covering all that. I have that story up right now. The headline was Penn State a priority for Nike behind the switch from swoosh to stripes, and basically the gist was very much that the Penn State he wrote there are instances that PSU's belief in Nike did not feel the same way. Like when Penn State requested to do multiple specific program projects that Nike denied. Multiple sources said Penn State requested to wear the gold swoosh on their jerseys for the college football playoff semifinal against Notre Dame, much like Ohio State had, but it was denied. Then he talks about a Saquon Barkley brand of shoes that got denied, and a couple other things. People weren't showing up to Nike reps had not shown up, according to his report, since July 2022 at least, under the Pat Kraft era, on campus. And then the big one was, with Nike's initial offer to Penn State during this round of negotiations, which according to a source was lower than Nike's current deal for the Nittany Lions. I think this is in part the crux of the situation, and the crux of the why Penn State did this, why Pat Kraft went and did this, why this was okayed and approved, and all of these things. Penn State was, I can name you three schools ahead of Penn State on the pecking order in the Big Ten right now. And I could quite frankly name probably about 10 schools ahead of Penn State on the Nike pecking order across the country. They were very much fourth fiddle at best, right? Like it was down, and based on the things that we had kind of heard and some of the processes and things going on behind the scenes, that's kind of the way it appeared. So yeah, it was surprising, but it wasn't that surprising. And I think now Penn State goes out and becomes Adidas's Big Ten brand. They went and signed Tennessee. That's their SEC brand. For all intents and purposes, the Adidas's Big Ten brand. If we're gonna do this, what do you call it? NFL Light with the CFC and those two divisions. Like if the one big division is the Big Ten and the other one is the SEC. These are the two schools that Adidas is really planting their flag into.
What about Nebraska?
No, not. And I think the number is why.
Okay.
It's $100 million more than what Tennessee got 2 months ago, 3 months ago, however many months ago it was. And I think the other thing that was important and I think is really interesting, it is the Nike deal that Ohio State has was $252 million over 15 years. The Penn State deal is over 10 years, so it's $30 million more per year there. I think it's clear that for as much as I have harped on Pat Kraft for a lot of things, we've discussed some of those things on this very podcast, this was an absolute win for him. It sucks from the fact that I only buy Nike shoes. It sucks that I really like their products. But at the end of the day, going back to the conversation, what do you need to win with, or how do you win right now in college athletics? It's money. Go get the money. Go figure it out. Pat Kraft did that, and that is kudos to him.
Yes, I agree. I think what's most interesting to me about this story is just all the tentacles of it, right? Like it is about, it feels like it's about the money. It's about the NIL money that's coming on top of the product to pay for the student athletes or to pay for the participants. Because friend of the program who hasn't appeared yet, but at least knows we exist, is Landon Tangwell, right? Talking about, I heard him talking on his show this week about, hey, there's no NFL players that are wearing Nike because they suck, right? No NFL linemen who are wearing Nike because their product's not good, right? So that's interesting to me, right? Is this, and I don't know, or wearing Adidas, sorry, we're not wearing Adidas because of product. What do they have for track, for wrestling, for the other sports beyond, like all the stuff when the release says it's transformational and we're the best in class and it's going to, okay, sure. But I think what it really is they're giving Penn State the most money to be able to pay their athletes more. So, and that's, I just, and the NIL is in there, so they're not avoiding it. But I think all those little pieces in terms of volleyball uniforms, all that other stuff, just to know how people, if we were ever to find out, oh, does everybody think this is great? There's probably for some people for whom this product isn't the best, but it's best for everybody altogether.
That relates to some things that I also heard related to how some of this was received internally. I think you talk about the tentacles of this. I think there is the fan aspect as well, because you go look at my wardrobe. God knows how many Penn State items of merchandise
You're still allowed to wear them though.
I know, and now all the value on those goes through the roof. The stuff that I
don't
bought.
Get them dirty.
Don't get them dirty, right? Like now I really can't lose my 1/4 zip. But I think that's interesting. I don't know what I don't know, and what I'm anticipating hearing is in 3-4 years from now. I feel like I'm going to hear. I hate that Penn State switched to Nike to Adidas. They should have never left Nike. Their stuff was so much better, like, and not necessarily the understanding, like the fan or the why of all of this, because I think you and I, to a degree, get the why of all of this, and I don't know that the average fan does. And I do think that the relationship souring is a fascinating thing. I mean, Phil Knight gave a eulogy at Joe Paterno's funeral, right? And that's only 15 years ago now. Like, I know that's only 15 years ago.
Decade and a half, though. I mean, but
it's just like
change.
I think that's what's very interesting and very fascinating. And a part of all of this change that we're living through is like, this isn't even like my Penn State anymore. It's a new Penn State athletic chapter, And credit to Pat Kraft, it started with him for how much or little we don't like it. Honestly, things would be just a lot better if he would just get rid of the flag. And you know what? If the flag has an Adidas
come with a brand
logo on it
next year,
if that has an Adidas logo on it, you know what? I'll shut up about it. That's
okay. There you go.
Out there.
I think you're not giving general fans enough credit. I think general fans know it's about the money. I also
maybe not general fans. Just below general fans.
Okay. I don't know.
Guy drinking a beer, spouting.
I think everybody knows it's about the money. I think the thing that makes it even easier is if there'd be some benefit for them. And I don't know what it is, right? Like, it's not like this deal is going to freeze ticket prices for 2 years because we got this much money, because that's not going to happen, right? So I think that's the tough part for fans is, okay, you've done this. You've put an ad on my field. You've put an ad around the stadium on all 4 sides. You've got more sponsors than ever showing up on the stadium. And that's what I saw. Most of them, I'm watching the ribbon boards as much as I can behind plays to see names and companies that I don't know that I haven't seen before, but there's more of them during games. You've done that, and my ticket price has still gone up, and you're still asking me for money. Like, I think if there was a way all this would lead to, hey, we've done a lot of change. One of the things we're not going to do in the next year is change your ticket prices. Or next 2 years, we're going to change your ticket prices because we've got some investment for sponsors, and we appreciate all your long-term stuff. Even if they did it for season ticket holders who've been there more than a decade, right? You've been with us for a decade. We've had all these changes. You folks, prices. I mean, I think then they could see some benefit to them for it, as opposed to just a more thing. I don't think that's ever going to happen from this organization or any other, because I don't think people do that kind of mindset with fans in general.
No, it sucks. It's annoying, and I think that's why, like, I can get fired up about the fact that Hershey candy is gone, or people were fired up that Yingling lager is gone. Yeah,
and I would love to know 2 years out, some coach says, yeah, it wasn't the best for our team, but our players are getting paid. Like, I don't like their gear, I don't like their kits, I don't like their whatever, but that's who we are now. That, you know, I would love to know that.
Yeah,
just to know. You
know. Okay. We will have a year and a half now to sit here and discuss the Adidas thing, and we just spent about 25 minutes on it, or 20 minutes on it, but I really wanted to dive in deep on that. I did want to say, for all of the haters out there, that I think it's very important that we acknowledge that Micah Hancock was one of the athletes referenced in the press release, because I have gotten a lot of feedback and pushback over the years on my thoughts on how Micah Hancock might be Penn State's greatest athlete of all time. And hopefully this proves that. This is one notch towards that.